In this lecture, we are going to see how can we make this login system that we developed in one of the previous lectures more advanced. So we will start with adding a sign up screen to this mobile app. Now how can we do that? We need to come on this design panel and select this screen 1. So as you can see over here in this drop down, screen 1 is coming by default. So which means that screen 1 is active right now. Okay, so the only thing that we have to do is we need to hit this duplicate button over here, and automatically a copy of screen 1 is going to get created like this. So whatever components we have on this screen 1, now all the components are going to be there on this screen 4 also. So there are two input fields and there is one error message also, this label box, and there is one button also on this screen 4, right? Now in the background of this screen we are able to see this sign in thing written. Why? Because it is a part of that image which we have in the background. How can we change it to sign up? That's what we are going to learn. So in order to do that, you remember we created this login screen in that previous lecture. So what I am going to do, I am going to change this sign in which is written over here right on the top to sign up. How can we do that? We can make use of this selection tool and select some part of this blue color of this image. Okay, let's copy this blue part by pressing Ctrl and C together. We can do it. And now I'm going to create an instance of this copied part by pressing Ctrl and V together. We can do it. Let's bring this instance on this sign in and let's expand this a little bit. That's how you can hide any text of this image. Okay, now let's make use of this text tool which you can easily find in this tools section of the Paint software, and here I am going to write down sign up. Okay, so the font size is quite big. Let's select the whole text and reduce the font size to about 24. Yeah, 24 is looking good, right? And we would like to see this text in white color. So for doing that, we can select the white color from this panel, and that's how you can make the required changes over here, right? Let's bring it somewhere in the center. Yeah, now it is fine. So that's how you can change any text of the image you have. Now I am going to save this image with a unique name on my desktop. So for doing that, I need to come on this option, and here I will make use of this save as option and save it with let's save it with sign up. Okay, so I'm saving it with this name on my desktop. Now I am going to import this image in the Applab. So for doing that, I need to make this background image button active first. Let's select this background image. So as you can see, image 3 is getting reflected over here in this drop down at present, which means that image 3, the component with ID image 3 is active at present. Now let's come down, and with the help of this choose option, we are going to get redirected on this assets panel. And now let's upload that sign up screen on this Applab. So we can make use of this upload file option here. Okay, so this is the screen which we just created in the Paint software. Let's select this and hit this open button. So automatically this image is going to get uploaded over here like this. Now let's hit this choose button to upload the image over here. So as you can see, now the sign in has changed to sign up. So now we have two different screens. One is for logging into this app. So this is sign in screen. Okay, and the other one is for the registration purpose. That is a sign up screen. So I don't want this label box for this sign up screen. That is the reason I am eliminating this from here. Fine. Let's now change the IDs of these components which we have on this sign up screen. So I am changing this one to email, and here E is in small of this email. Similarly, this one I am going to change the ID to password, P is in small, and of this one I am changing the ID to sign up. Right, so we are done with changing the IDs of all the three components which we have on this sign up screen. Okay, now let's make this screen the default screen. What do you mean by a default screen? The screen which the user come across when he first access the app on his mobile phone. So let's make this screen for the default screen. And how can you do that? First of all, you need to make this screen 4 active by selecting screen 4 from this drop down. Okay, and then you can make use of this make default button which is getting reflected in this workspace. Let's hit this button and make this screen the default screen. Right, now when you will run this app, screen 4 is the first screen you're going to come across. Why? Because it is now the default screen. Right, let's reset this app. Now I am going to come on this coding window for defining the code for these components over here. Okay, now see, we are trying to make an advanced login system. For the same, we will be using this data browser facility available on this Applab. How? Let me show you that. So here I am going to convert this whole code back into text-based coding, and let's eliminate everything from here. Fine. Now I need to define the code for this sign up button first, right? So I'm changing this login to sign up. Okay, when the user will hit this sign up button, whatever information he is going to enter in these two fields should get stored in a table like structure on this data browser which is acting as a server for this app right now. So let's come back on this coding panel. Let's make use of this create record block. Okay, so this is the block which is going to help us in creating a table like structure on the data browser connected to this app. Now the ID of the table which will get created on the data browser is this, right? If you want to change the ID to something else, you can change it like this. Suppose if you want to rename it to user, so you can rename it like this. Fine. Now what will happen? When the user will hit this sign up button, automatically a table named users is going to get created on the data browser connected to this app. Let me show it to you how. So let's run this app and hit this login button. So as you can see, a table with name users has got created over here, right? And inside this, there is a field with name which is getting reflected over here, and this is the value which it is picking up from this coding part over here. From this part, this field is getting created, and the thing that we have defined after this colon, it is the value for this field, or you can say property. Right, now let's reset this app and define the fields for these two components over here in this table. How can we do that? So I'm going to eliminate everything which is written inside these curly brackets, and let's now write down email over here, and I'm going to place a colon. Then in order to get the value for this field, I can make use of this get text property, because whatever the user is going to type over here in this email field will be in the form of text, right? So in order to read that input, we can make use of this get text property. Let's make use of these double inverted commas, and in between these two double inverted commas, I am going to define the ID of this component. So it is email. Similarly, we can copy this whole code and let's make use of this for getting the input which the user is going to feed here in this password field. So let's change the ID to password first. Okay, and what is the ID of this component? It is password. P is in small. So now what is going to happen? When the user will hit this login button, sign up button, a table with ID users is going to get created on this data browser, in which we'll get to see two different columns, one with name email and the second one with name password. And whatever the user will input over here in these two fields is going to get reflected in this column and this column. Let me show it to you practically. What are we going to get? So first of all, I would like to come on this data browser thing. Let's delete this user's name table. Fine. Now let's hit this run button for running this app. Here I am going to enter an email address. Let's go for this one. Here I am going to enter a password. So I am entering Gaurav123. Now when I will hit this login button, a table with ID users like this has got created. Okay, now inside this users named table, let's see what do we have. Okay, so we have two fields, one with name email and the second with name password, and whatever we have mentioned over here, it is getting reflected over here in this table. That's how you can make use of this data browser facility of the Applab. Let's come back on this coding panel. Once the user is done with registering his profile on this platform, I would like him to get redirected on this screen 1. So how can we do that? So for doing that, let's make use of this set screen block, which you can easily find in the UI controls section of the toolbox, and I'm going to place it over here. So now once the table with name users will get created on the data browser, automatically the user is going to get redirected on this screen 1, right? Okay, let's make it more interactive by adding some sound to this on event block. So I'm going to make use of this play speech block powered by Microsoft Azure AI. Okay, let's place it over here right below the set screen block, and here I am going to write down a text. Okay, so now what is going to happen, whatever I have written over here, it is going to get converted by this play speech block in the form of speech. Let's check it out. Okay, so I'm going to run this app. Let's enter an email address over here, and here I am going to enter a password, and now let's hit this login button and see what's going to happen.
Your profile has been created successfully.
Okay, so we were able to hear this speech, right? Okay, now let's reset this app. Fine, once the user is done with creating his profile on this platform, he's going to get redirected on this sign in screen. Now let's define the code for this login button which we have on this screen 1. So for doing that, I'm going to make use of this on event block. Let's place it right in the bottom. Now the ID of this login button is login. I need to select the ID of this button from this drop down over here. Fine. Now when the user will hit this login button, the first thing that I would like to do is whatever information he's going to enter here, I would like to match it with the one which he entered while creating his profile on this platform, on this screen 4. Right, so how can we do that? For this, there is a need of fetching the details from this user's name table and getting the same matched with the one which the user is going to enter over here in these two components which we have on this screen 1. So how can we fetch the details from a particular table which we have on the data browser? That's what we are going to learn now. So let's come on this data a section of this toolbox, and from here I am going to make use of this read records block. Let's put it over here. Now because we want to fetch the records from this users named table, that is the reason I need to change the name of the table to users over here. That's how I can do it. Let's convert it into text-based coding. Now I need to match up two things. One is the email part, and for that email part I need to check whether the password which the user has entered over here, is it matching with the one which he entered while creating his profile on this platform or not. So for doing that I need to come inside this for loop, and here I can make use of this if loop. Right, now here inside this if loop I am going to define a statement with which I can put a check on these two components. Let's do that. So get text, we need to first get the text which the user is going to enter over here in this email named field, and let's match it up with the one which the user entered while registering his profile on this platform. So we can do it like this. See, records over here is a variable which we can make use of for fetching the details from any table. So right now we have this table named users over here. So we can use this records for fetching the details from this table. So records, and then we can place this variable that we have defined over here inside this if loop I, and let's now define the name of the field in which emails are getting saved. So emails are getting saved in this email named field. That is the reason I have defined email over here. Now whatever email address the user will enter here, it is going to be matched with the ones which are there stored in this user's name table. Okay, besides this we would like to match the password also. So let's copy this whole code and make use of this and logical operator, and just next to this I am going to define one more condition with which I can check the password also. Now the passwords are getting saved in this password named field. Okay, fine. So if the email will match with any of the emails which are present in this user's name table, the compiler of this platform is going to check the password also. Now if the password which the user has mentioned over here, if it matches with the one which is there in the user's named table against this email address, then only the user is going to get redirected on that welcome screen, that is screen 2. Fine, else I would like this error message to be showed to the user. Now the ID of this error message is error. Fine. Also I would like the user to hear a speech from the background, something like you entered invalid login credentials. So for that we can make use of this play speech block. Let's put it right inside this else part. Here I am going to replace this hello world with you entered invalid credentials. Fine. Now let's check out whether we are going to get right output from this code which we have defined in this workspace or not. So I'm going to first delete this table named users that is there on this data browser connected to this app. Now let's use this link and check out the output on a bigger window. So I'm going to open it up on a new tab. So right now there is no table on this data browser, right? Now here I am going to enter an email address. So I'm going to go for this. Let's enter this one, gaurav@gmail.com, and here I am going to enter this password, gaurav123. Now when I will hit this login button,
Your profile has been created successfully.
okay, so I was able to hear that speech in the background. When you'll come on this Applab, you will be able to see a table named users has got created over here, inside which you can see the details which I entered while creating my profile. Okay, now let's come back on this login system. So as you can see, I am now on this sign in screen. Let's enter an email ID over here. So I am entering the one which I just created the profile with. Now here I am going to enter an incorrect password. Let's hit this login button and see what is going to happen.
You entered invalid
Okay,
credentials.
I entered invalid credentials. That is the reason I was not redirected on that screen too. Let's enter the correct one. So the correct one is this, Gaurav123. Now let's see whether we'll be able to go on that screen too or not. Okay, so we are here on this screen too. That's how you can make your login system more advanced. Hope you guys enjoyed this lecture a lot. Do like and share this video. Thank you very much for watching this video. Have a great day. Bye bye.